First, I want to say thank you to the media on short notice for joining us today. Secondly, want to say a big thank you to Pastor Alexander for just not being here today, but for what you do every single day in our community and outside your four walls. Next, a thank you to the aldermen who have joined us today. Alderman Hoffman, Alderman Beach, Alderman Hanley, Alderman Shirelli, and Alderman Thompson-Kelly. Start by also giving a tremendous thank you to those who gathered yesterday morning with Brandon Gordon at 10 a.m. at the federal courthouse, where he produced and sang a song called "You Are Somebody." I was there. It was beautiful. I want to also say thank you to the thousands of people who gathered yesterday at Haskell Park. You gathered so that your voices would be heard, and I am here to tell you, your city, the city of Rockford, hears your voices. As we saw yesterday, it began with peaceful events, and unfortunately, it did not end peacefully. Yesterday was a difficult day for the city of Rockford. It was a difficult day across our entire country. I want to be really clear, though. This wasn't just about yesterday, and it was certainly not about just one person. This was about too many years of systemic injustices that have plagued our institutions, that have plagued our country, and that have been embedded into the fabric of our society. About years of people not truly having their voices heard. I want people to realize that I can't stand and I do not condone rioting and looting, but I think we also have to understand that that's just a symptom. We are going to continue to repeat this cycle if we don't address the reason for the anger and the frustration that is incredibly real. Although there's better ways to express someone's frustrations and anger, we also have to understand we need to be better. We need to be better at listening. And that begins with me, and that begins with our city. So we've done these press conferences. I've probably participated in 45 press briefings over the last 70 days. This is by far the hardest one I've participated in as mayor of the city of Rockford. I'm not here to stand in front of you and tell you I know what it's like to be a black man or a person of color in our community. But I am here to say I certainly understand the hurt that a mother of a black son has when they're concerned that they're not going to come home from school. Certainly appreciate and empathize with the spouse of a black wife doesn't know if she's going to come home from work. Or a sister who is afraid that her brother who's going out for a jog may not come home. All for doing nothing more than living in their God-given skin. I'll be honest, this is something I don't have to worry about. I understand I have a privilege that I definitely didn't earn, and that privilege is the color of my skin. And I also understand that not everyone in our community has that same privilege. So we got to talk about one of the first questions I'm sure I'm going to be asked is, where do we go from here? I'll say a couple of things. One, my hope is that Rockford, we show the country how to handle this. We've seen how not to handle these situations and how to go from here. We as a country have shown how not to do it So here in the city of Rockford, let's show everyone how to do it. And I believe we begin by doing that by coming together. I was really encouraged this morning out at District 1. I have a phenomenal neighborhood organization, West Gateway Coalition. And you go out there, people of all different races, people from all across our city, we're coming together to pick up the remnants from yesterday's events. That is a city we want to see. That's a city we deserve to be. It's a city that's coming together. A city that comes together so that we can move forward together. So as we look at how things are going to be moving forward, I want to address this a little bit differently than I think most people in my position across the country do. I don't want to come to this table with any preconceived notions. I think the first and foremost thing I need to do as your mayor is to listen. I think our city needs to do a better job at listening, and that begins with me. I think by not listening and coming up with preconceived notions, that's where we've made mistakes. And I do not want to let that happen again in our own community.